Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. The Great Lakes of North America are so vast, they are often called inland seas. And like any sea, they hold secrets in their depths. It's estimated that over 6,000 shipwrecks, with a loss of 30,000 lives, lie on the bottom of these 5 lakes. They are silent monuments to the ambition, commerce, and tragedy that built the industrial heartland of a continent. For every ship that made its port, others were swallowed by sudden, violent storms, becoming permanent fixtures of the cold, dark lakebed. For nearly 140 years, one such vessel was more than just a wreck. It was a legend, a ghost ship. Its name was the F.J. King, and its location was one of the Great Lakes' most enduring mysteries. A mystery that finally came to a dramatic end in the summer of 2025. This is the story of how a 19th century ghost story was finally put to rest. Our story begins not with the sinking, but with the ship itself. Built in 1867 in Toledo, Ohio, by the master shipwright George R. Rogers, the F.J. King was a marvel of its time. She was a 3-masted wooden schooner, 144 feet long, a powerful and sturdy vessel, but she was also a special type of ship known as a canal schooner. This meant she was built to the exact dimensions that would allow her to pass through the locks of the Welland Canal, the crucial waterway that bypasses Niagara Falls and connects Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. This design gave her incredible versatility, allowing her to haul cargo across the entire Great Lakes system. For 19 years, the F.J. King was a reliable workhorse of the inland seas. She ferried the raw materials that were fueling a booming industrializing America. Her holds were most often filled with grain from the western prairies, or, more importantly, iron ore from the rich deposits of the Upper Peninsula, destined for the steel mills of the lower lakes. Her career wasn't perfect. Records show she ran aground a couple of times and once arrived in port missing part of her bow. But she was a survivor, a testament to her solid construction. However, life on the lakes in the late 19th century was getting more dangerous, not because of the weather, but because of economics. The shipping industry was fiercely competitive. To maximize profits, owners and captains were under immense pressure to carry as much cargo as possible on every single trip. This often led to the dangerous practice of overloading. Unlike on the oceans, there were no load line regulations for the Great Lakes. There was no Plimsoll line painted on the hull to say this is the safe limit. Captains often had to use their own judgment, balancing safety against the financial demands of the ship's owners. Every voyage became a gamble, pushing the limits of a wooden ship's capacity against the unforgiving power of the lakes. For the F.J. King, that gamble was about to run out. On September 15, 1886, the schooner departed from Escanaba, Michigan, under the command of Captain William Griffin. Her hold was packed with 600 tons of iron ore, a dense and heavy cargo bound for the furnaces of Chicago. As she sailed south, she passed along Wisconsin's picturesque but treacherous Door Peninsula, a beautiful stretch of land known to sailors as the graveyard of the Great Lakes for its unpredictable weather and navigational hazards. It was here that the F.J. King met its fate. A fierce gale swept across Lake Michigan, howling from the southeast. The lake, whipped into a frenzy, unleashed immense waves, estimated at 8 to 10 feet high. For an aging wooden ship like the King, already burdened and sitting low in the water with 600 tons of ore, the pounding was relentless. The strain was too much. The seams of her wooden hull began to open up, and the cold, dark water of Lake Michigan started to pour into the hold. The crew of 8 men fought desperately, manning the pumps in a back-breaking, exhausting effort to push the water out faster than it was coming in. But it was a losing battle. The leak was too severe, the storm too powerful. As the ship grew heavy and waterlogged, Captain Griffin realized the ship was lost. He made the only choice he could to save his crew, giving the order to abandon ship. They scrambled into the ship's yawl, a small lifeboat, and rowed for their lives against the storm-tossed waves. From the relative safety of their small boat, adrift in the chaos, they watched the final dramatic moments of the FJ King. At approximately 2 o'clock in the morning, the ship went down bow first. As her nose plunged into the depths, the immense weight of the 600 tons of iron ore is believed to have slid forward in a massive, sudden rush. This created a colossal pocket of trapped air in the stern. The pressure became so great that it blew the rear deckhouse completely apart, sending Captain Griffin's personal papers flying 50 feet into the stormy night sky before the lake swallowed the vessel whole. In a true miracle, the entire crew survived their terrifying ordeal. They were spotted and picked up by a passing schooner, the Le Petit, and brought to the safety of Bailey's Harbor. The men were safe, but the FJ King was gone, its final resting place a secret now guarded by the vast, dark waters of Lake Michigan. In the aftermath, the mystery of the FJ King's location began almost immediately, and it was born from confusion. When Captain Griffin was interviewed after his rescue, he reported that his ship went down about 5 miles off the coast of Bailey's Harbor. It seemed like a clear enough starting point. But a few days later, a second, crucial report emerged. It came from William Sanderson, the keeper of the Cana Island Lighthouse, a man whose job it was to know those waters better than anyone. Sanderson reported seeing the tops of a schooner's masts sticking out of the water much closer to shore, posing a serious hazard to other ships. In response, the government dispatched the revenue cutter Andrew Johnson, which sailed to the location, found the protruding masts, and used explosives to remove the dangerous spars. These two conflicting reports, the captain saying 5 miles out, the lighthouse keeper saying much closer, sent would-be discoverers on a decades-long wild goose chase. The search for the King began in earnest in the 1970s as sonar technology became more accessible. Shipwreck hunters, fascinated by the dramatic story of the sinking, scoured the area. A local dive club even offered a $1,000 reward for its discovery. For decades, nothing. Commercial fishermen would periodically claim to have snagged their nets on wreckage in the general area, adding to the intrigue but never leading to a confirmed find. With each failed search, with each passing year, the legend of the FJ King grew. It became known as a ghost ship, an elusive phantom of the lake that defied every attempt at discovery. The story might have remained a piece of local folklore, a tale told by sailors and divers, if not for the persistence of maritime historian Brendan Bayode and the Wisconsin Underwater Archaeology Association. Bayode had been fascinated by the FJ King for years. He reviewed the old accounts and came to a simple but brilliant conclusion. Captain Griffin, having abandoned ship in the middle of the night, in a violent storm, adrift in a small boat, was likely disoriented. His estimate of being 5 miles from shore was just that, an estimate made under extreme duress. The lighthouse keeper, William Sanderson, however, was a stationary observer on land, using a reliable landmark. Bayode decided to put his faith in the lighthouse keeper's account, which provided a more precise range and bearing for the wreck. So on June 28, 2025, Bayode and the association embarked on a truly unique expedition. They chartered a local tour vessel, the Shoreline, and invited 20 citizen scientists to join them. This group was a mix of students, retirees, and history enthusiasts, ordinary people who wanted to be part of the search. The day was planned as much as a training exercise in using modern search equipment like side-scan sonar and remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, as it was a serious hunt. Expectations were low. After all, they were chasing a legend that had eluded professionals for half a century. The team established a 2-by-2 mile search grid on the lake, based on the coordinates derived from the lighthouse keeper's 139-year-old report. They began methodically towing the side-scan sonar back and forth, painting a picture of the lakebed below. Then, just 2 hours into the search, on only the second pass of the grid, something astonishing happened. A large, dark object began to scroll onto the sonar screen. The team watched, hearts pounding, as the unmistakable shape of a ship materialized from the data. They took measurements. The length was a perfect match, 140 feet long. Bayot later recounted that a few of them had to pinch each other, unable to believe they had actually found it, and so quickly. The real magic happened next. The citizen scientists, the very people who had joined the tour as a learning experience, were given the controls to the ROV. They became the pilots, guiding the small, camera-equipped submersible down through more than 100 feet of dark green water. They became the first human eyes to see the FJ King, since its crew had watched it vanish beneath the waves all those years ago. The ghost ship had finally been found. It was resting upright on the lake floor, less than half a mile from where lighthouse keeper William Sanderson had reported seeing its masts. The discovery was remarkable not just for its speed, but for the incredible condition of the wreck. Experts were stunned. Typically, ships laden with heavy, dense cargo like iron ore shatter on impact with the hard lakebed. The momentum and weight are simply too much for the wooden structure to bear. Yet there she sat, a preserved time capsule of a bygone era. The cold, fresh, low-oxygen water of the Great Lakes is an exceptional preservative, slowing down the process of decay that would quickly destroy a wreck in salt water. The images sent back by the ROV provided a hauntingly clear glimpse into the past. The ship's wheel, which would have been at the stern that was blown apart, now rests on the lake bottom just behind the vessel. The hatches that covered the cargo hold are still visible, draped in the ship's own wire rigging. Archaeologists now have an invaluable opportunity to study 19th century shipbuilding techniques and to analyze the dramatic evidence of the vessel's final moments. The wreck is set to be nominated for the National Register of Historic Places to ensure it is protected for future generations. However, this remarkable discovery also comes with a ticking clock. This incredible window into the past may not stay open forever. The wreck of the FJ King, like so many others in the lower Great Lakes, is covered in an invasive species, quagga mussels. These are small, finger-sized mollusks native to Eastern Europe that were unintentionally introduced to the lakes, likely through the ballast water of transoceanic freighters in the late 1980s. They have since become a dominant and destructive force. Quagga mussels attach themselves to any hard surface, including historic shipwrecks. They form thick, dense colonies, sometimes layers a foot deep, and their combined weight can be enough to crush the very wooden structures they cling to. Worse, their biological waste produces acid, which actively corrodes steel and iron components of the wrecks. The byssal threads they use to anchor themselves are so strong that attempting to remove the mussels can tear away the surface of the wood underneath. Archaeologists are in a race against time. The same quagga mussels that are slowly destroying these submerged historical sites are also wreaking havoc on the lake's ecosystem. For now, the FJ King is relatively well preserved, but the presence of the mussels is a stark reminder that this time capsule will not last forever. The discovery of the FJ King is far more than just closing a cold case. It's a powerful story of history, mystery, and modern-day exploration. It proves that sometimes the key to a modern discovery lies in carefully rereading a 139-year-old report and trusting the right witness. It connects us directly to the lives of those 19th century sailors who faced the daily dangers of the inland seas. And it reminds us of the thousands of other stories that still lie silently in the depths, waiting to be told. Thanks to a new generation of explorers, a clever historian, and a team of citizen scientists, the ghost ship of Lake Michigan has finally sailed out of legend and into history.